Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. My name is DJ, joined by two guys I just cannot get rid of. We hung out all week down in Jacksonville, and now we are together on the pod. Mr. Icarito Schuster, Neil, greetings. Hi, hello. How are you?
Greetings. Back in the city, survived the congestion pricing, getting back into the city. Happy to be here. Talking Sony Open. Let's do it.
And of course, the tequila was flowing at his house in person last night. Got to meet all these kids he's having all over. It's just an unbelievable week down there. Solly, good to see you, my man.
Very surreal to have you guys back in town, getting to meet your guys' kids as well. Everybody's all grown up, man. Just extremely, extremely grown up. But here we are, still talking golf on a Sunday night.
That we are. Guys, I know we teased this last week. We're another week closer to the launch of the 2025 Pro V1 and Pro V1X. And thankfully, according to my expert sources, I'm hearing a lot more information about the 2025 Pro V1 and Pro V1X might be hitting the interwebs tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, a few notes from the tour truck. Your Sony Open champion, Nick Taylor, played a Pro V1X, and he was among the 105 players in the field. That number always shocks me when I see it spelled out loud. 105 players in the field gaming a Titleist golf ball, 7 times the nearest competitor. Nick was dialed all week, leading the field with more than 8 strokes gained tee to green. Also, did you see that chip he hit on the second playoff ball? I mean, that's a guy that's in total control of his golf ball. We mentioned Ludwig and Willie Z making the move at Sentry, but 10 more players this week at Wiley switched into the new 2025 Pro V1 or Pro V1X, which means more than 60 players have teed up the 2025 models on the PGA Tour since they launched last fall. And finally, let's end it with one more. This week in Hawaii, 62 players used a Titleist driver. That is 43% of the field using Titleist drivers. Even more telling, I think like more than a third of those guys are choosing to play one without an endorsement deal. Just pick of the litter, and they're going with the Titleist driver. I think that kind of says it all. 100% of players at Timuquana Country Club in our group were using Titleist driver this week. I'm sure we'll get to that.
0% breaking exciting. 80 with it, but that's
another story.
Hitting
later in the
hellacious
podcast.
seeds.
That's right. So in the meantime, stay tuned to Titleist social channels and Titleist.com tomorrow for more information coming soon. Again, my sources are saying tomorrow. Look for that. Guys, Sony Open, I would say about 90% of this tournament I would classify as not electric, but we got quite a nice little finish there, Solly. It was good stuff.
Nick Taylor, about as clutch as they come in pretty much every possible moment. He chips in on the 18th hole after a TIO drop. TC would get very upset. He's not here, of course. He's traveling this week, but he'd be very upset if we did not start the show with the TIO mention. Gets to drop it on the fringe, chips it in, makes 2 birdies in the playoff to outlast Nico Echeverria. Deej, you're helping me out through a tough time here, getting in the agenda. Love you dropping in the agenda the win probabilities in here. You want to give us a little glimpse into what it looked like on the back nine?
Yes, this is kind of one of those, like, if you were watching the golf, which I'm sure many of you were not, big weekend of football this week, but if you were watching it and someone told you it was not JJ Spawn that was going to go on to win this golf tournament, or Steven Jaeger for that matter, you would have thought they were quite crazy. When JJ Spawn finished number 16, he was playing in the final group. When he finished number 16, he was at a 69% chance to win, according to our friends at Data Golf. Your eventual champion, Nick Taylor, with the leader, having only 2 holes left to play, was at 0.8% probability to win. So, yeah, just a truly shocking finish. And, guys, this is going to sound, I don't know a better way to say this. It sounds mean-spirited to say this, but it is an entertainment product, as we continue to say. Watching someone kick away a golf tournament is like a pretty undefeated experience. Neil, am I onto something there? Just the slow gas leak, the like, oh my God, now he's got that putt left for par. It's just, I can't look away.
Yeah, I was deep in the lab on my TGL hole, and I looked up. I was like, "Whoa, is this a car wreck? Is this a fender bender, or are we totaling this thing?" You're absolutely right, Deej. It definitely catches your attention, and I will say, tournament was not electric, but Wiley's not supposed to be electric. Hawaii's not supposed to be electric. It's Mahalo. Like, don't shake it. Just put the shaka up. That's not what this tournament's for. So I think it kind of delivers what it's supposed to. Leaderboard didn't have a lot of big names on it, but I will say I got a lot of respect for Nick Taylor. And I feel like I love his golf swing. I just think we need to be talking about him more. It's a little tough with the blow by him shoes. He has a bad fit, some bad sponsors, other than Titleist, of course, but just some stuff in his appearance that's like, oh man, but he's a stud. He's got Kira Cedric vibes. He's the closer. It's unbelievable.
Topical.
What's a good
Yeah,
comp for him? Because like he 5-time PGA Tour winner now. He's approaching the big tone zone, I believe, which you're very excited.
and
I'm stealing that one from you because I know you're way
you
too
like that one?
excited to get that one in there. But I mean, this is his first top 10 going back to the Zurich last year, which is a team event. His only other solo top 10 on his own was his win in February last year. So I'm going to give us a pass, Neil, on not talking about Nick Taylor a whole heck of a lot over the last year.
Fair enough, but I just mean like when I know he's got a flair
He gets it
for
done when he's there. When he's
drama.
there, dude,
That's
it's
what I mean, and I just think that that's worth calling out. Like, you're right, the play hasn't been good since the waste management, really, but, I just got a lot of respect for people that, like, see the moment and take it. I don't know,
It
it's like maybe the opposite of Fleetwood. No, I don't mean to drive by. Like, I'm trying to think of a guy that's there a lot and just doesn't get it done. You know, we were calling Xander that for a long time. He's gotten that monkey off his back, but a guy that's like, man, he just keeps sniffing around, but he can't get it done on Sunday. That Nick Taylor's like the other end of the spectrum.
eh, weird comp. He hasn't gotten to 5 wins. He's got 3, but it's kind of like the Scott Stallings playbook. You know, where it's like, oh yeah, if he's not there, like, yeah, he might miss the cut. He might like, kind of shoot himself off the planet. But like, if he's there, like, I don't know, man. He slammed the door a couple times. Like, he could do it. And now I think he's kind of taken that to another level over the last couple years with both Phoenix and now this one. But it's I don't know. Those are the types of players I guess I kind of think of.
I was trying to
Well, you just got 3 examples, 3 highlights now of him just jarring putts to win, right? Like it was the first playoff hole,
And
but
now
like
chips.
birdie he made on the first playoff hole, I mean, that thing was 5 feet by. You
yeah.
know, like I mean, he runs them in with authority under pressure, which I again just want to call out that that's badass.
And I do think we skipped past the main highlight, which is that he did hold out for eagle, hold a chip shot for eagle, on the final hole, right? I mean, Sal, you mentioned the TIO. Like, I think that TIO has kind of become it's almost like as the architect intended the hole at this point, right? Like that's kind of like what the 18th at Waialae
In
is.
the TGL era, yeah. I mean, when they put that up
Exactly.
there in the even in the digital holes. But I'm trying to think of like a good what's a good other sport comp of a dude that like I mean, yeah, you were like a fine player, but like the wins are way outweighing like what your profile as a player. Is it like Eli Manning? Like you got two
Mm.
That's
two
pretty good.
Super Bowls? Like that's a lot, man. I mean, he gets a lot for when he does get himself into contention.
When I was putting the agenda together today, I was looking up a couple stats. How many wins would this be for him? And seeing the 4 on there, I was like, no, that can't be right. Like somebody must have made a mistake. But yeah, sure enough, man.
What's the fourth? You got the Canadian Open,
Canadian Open. He's
waste management.
Waste Management, Pebble, he won a couple years ago, and then I
Oh
think his first
man,
one was Sanderson.
I
So, I
forgot
mean,
about
it's
Pebble.
absolutely not, not nothing events, right? Like, there's a
Yeah,
couple of people who are
some big time courses there. I mean,
feeding in the
I
fall, but there's some, some bigger name events here, and, like, a guy that's gonna have his card now again for just re-upping that status, and he's gonna be around for a while. I think he's, what, 36, 35, 36. So he's, like, probably I wouldn't say necessarily, like, gonna be a world beater for the next 10 years probably, but a guy, like you said, that if he's in the mix, I think he just kinda keeps getting more and more respect put on his name, which is
um
fun to have those guys.
I don't want to bog us down here, but I got one for you guys. So coverage was locked in on Jaeger bombs, and Mr. Respawn for pretty much the all day until the very end. And those guys could not stop missing on the inside of a dog leg, just all day, like on the back nine. And it's just crazy to see those two thought it was a 2-horse race. They're just locked in on each other, and then, out of nowhere they're just like, oops. Now, the point of this, me bringing this up, is it's just those two are the Spider-Man meme for me. If you took
JJ
if you just
Spawn
made
and Steven Yeager.
yes from behind, like over the ball, like it's like, wait, which one is that? Like they look, their silhouettes are very similar. I mean, similar swings. I mean, Jaeger hits a lot farther than Spawn does. It seems like, but
They're both pretty compact dudes,
yeah, if you took
you
away
know?
the logos, and I would challenge anyone out there to tell them apart, like, from as they're walking down the fairway. I'm curious if there's any other players on tour that you guys struggle to tell apart,
Oh
like
man.
based on that kind of like profile. Like because it happens sometimes. You're out on the course, like, wait, is that so and so or is that so and so?
Well,
I'm
like
wondering if you got any that you mix up.
for a like absolute split second today, just talking about the kind of like compact looking dudes out there, right?
Yeah.
I saw Steven Jaeger and I was like, wait, Xander's in the field? It's like Xander's another.
Yeah.
He's kind of in that all compact.
Hero Hatton has that same
Yeah,
same shape.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I have to think
I
on
would
that
say
one.
that's probably the first time I've ever thought about confusing Steven Jaeger and Xander, but it did happen today. So let me think on that, Neil. I'm gonna keep a running list as
I've
I.
got like a trio. I think Eric Cole, Denny McCarthy, and then like Taylor Montgomery. Or not Taylor. No, what's the guy from Arkansas?
Taylor Moore.
Come on.
Taylor Moore.
Yeah.
Like that's like that. Those three always kind of cut the same silhouette a little bit for me. And I'm like, which one is that? And sometimes you got like guys that wear a similar hat. I feel like I've mixed up Keegan with like Kevin Chappell or somebody else that's wearing a flat bill, kind of taller dude. Like which one, who is that?
The guys that have the Lego looking hats,
Yeah.
you know. Speaking of Taylor Moore, I think I'm gonna shoehorn in a segue. I think he was the roommate, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, or golf teammate
Of Echevarria.
of Nico Echeverria,
Echeverria.
who is playing some absolute golf right now. This would have been his second win in 6 starts. Listen, I don't have a ton to add on Echeverria other than he seems to be coming into his own and is a very nice, pretty well-balanced player. A couple little it seems to have made a pretty massive step up in his putting was kind of the big thing that jumped out to me was a pretty glaring weakness, and now seems like he's turning it into a strength, or at least over the last 3 or 4 months has just made a ton of putts. So that was cool to see. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add
He had
on
a
Nico.
lot of great shots coming down the stretch. Seems to be playing with a shitload of confidence and like almost just kind of didn't get the ball to bounce his way on 18. Like it kind of felt like he outplayed Taylor both of the playoff
Yeah.
holes and got just outscored at the very end. But can we back up to Jaeger again? I mean, this dude, I feel like he should have won this golf tournament. He was kept going for driver, finally blows one off the planet on 16, trying to cut it around the corner. Just like the truest bomb and gouge strategy on a golf course that doesn't promote it. It was just like, we're gonna go find it somewhere on the left, and then finally blew one OB for that to happen. Then gets to 18 and pulls 3-wood, and I don't know if he thought he could carry the bunker with 3-wood. I mean, he hits it a long way. We did a great podcast with him last year after he won Houston, just kind of talking about what he did to become one of the longer drivers on tour, which is kind of crazy, and he seems to still be gaining speed. But broadcast Smiley let him have it pretty good for like, hey, what was the did not understand that decision making there. I'm guessing driver was just hard to hold the fairway with that much of a cut of the dog leg, but his strategy just seemed to have been, I'll hack it out of the rough near the green anyways. And I mean, he played the 18th hole like the only way he could not have played it, which was into the bunker, then hit the lip, and all of a sudden he's coming in from the rough. All he had to do was birdie the hole, and he would have been in the playoff. I'm sure he's kicking himself there.
Yeah, that was, I know, that was a weird one. And props to Smiley for, I mean, I guess the simplest way is just like when you call that stuff out, like
In the
it
moment.
kind of yeah, in the moment, it kind of snaps you out of that malaise that you get into while you're watching golf.
Yeah.
You know how you can just kind of start to, you feel all your bones just kind of liquefy and you just start slipping off your couch, when you've just been watching golf too long. And just little moments like that at least snap you back in and are like, yeah, fuck, that was weird. Why did he do that? And it just like it adds context and it makes everything a lot more fun to watch. So was thankful to Smiley for that. But yeah, obviously I'm on the same page. Do not understand it.
In a vacuum, I do, but like going with his whole strategy for the whole tournament, I did
Right.
not
Yeah,
understand it, and it was working
yeah.
for him. I mean, it was not pretty, but he had no, he made after he hit the ball OB, he got up and down for bogey because he drove it to 91 yards on the 16th hole.
That was a
Yeah, it was a great bogey, and I appreciate and recognize the playing style there. But that one, he's gonna be kicking himself a little bit on that one. But I mean, it's also like, you hit the ball out of bounds. It's hard to, like, if you're going to keep that pedal to the metal, like eventually it's going to bite you at some point. And he just got one to turn over just a little too far left.
couple other just kind of player notes. We don't have to go totally down the leaderboard, but Keegan continues to play golf, man. T6. I know it's not the strongest field in the world, but our 12th ranked player in the world and our Ryder Cup captain just keep stacking up those Ryder Cup points, man. Just keep making it interesting.
Don't
Keep making it
mislead the
interesting.
people. There's
I
almost
just
no
wanna
points available this week. There's
I
nothing
just
there.
I just don't want to say that I didn't
Momentum,
call it out
Solly,
when it happened.
juju,
Exactly.
rhythm. That's all there this week.
He's
Exactly.
he's 20. You say 12th in the world. He's 26th in the data golf rankings, of course.
Well, that's not where is he at in among
Well,
Americans?
he's 18th in Ryder Cup points. Again, this he's just behind Harris English and Tom Hogecoin. Uh,
How many Americans are ahead of him in the data golf rankings?
let's see. We have, of course, Scotty, Xander, Morikawa, JT, Cantlay, Burns, Bryson, Russ Henley, Tony Finau, Max Grazerman, and then Keegan.
So he'd be on the team right now, is what you're saying, based on your beloved data golf
Well,
rankings.
only 6
Mm.
automatic qualifiers, and he said he's not picking himself, so no, he wouldn't be on the team. So
Just say
no,
it's
we're
just
not doing
interesting.
this all year, guys. We're not going to
God,
do
he
it.
shouldn't
Say
have
it's
boxed
interesting.
himself in. He
I
shouldn't have boxed
know.
himself in with that. That was not. He just shouldn't have said
He's
that.
going to pull a Sleepy Joe after saying he wasn't going to pardon him, and then so he didn't pick
For the
himself.
good of the republic, I simply have to be on the team. God, that'd be so sick. I want to give a shout out to Jackson Suber, Bunky, our good friend Bunky Perkins' guy. I think they did a little sponsorship deal with him. Playing his rookie season, first event of his rookie season, finishes T5. So that's kind of a fun.
Is he wearing some Monterey gear?
I think he's got. I don't know if he's got a logo or what, but that's a fun kind of young hitter adjacent type of
That's
story
fantastic.
going on
He's
there.
a
Did you guys?
Palmacia guy too.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There you go. Well, I don't know. There's got to be some similarities between Palmacia and
I
Wildlife, right?
and funny enough,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
we'll get one
legitimately.
of he plays one of the holes down the wrong fairway, which is a strategy I might be invoking this year with
And is
Palmacia.
a good segue into the next thing I want to talk about. If you're watching the video podcast,
If you're not,
with
check out the No
again,
Laying Up YouTube podcast channel, please.
did you guys see how Charlie Hoffman played 18? Again, shout out to our friends at Data Golf. I did not see this, but it just could not be further left. Like I don't know how this is physically possible. Like it's I don't know what degree was that, like a 30-degree angle basically from like where you actually would be aiming down the
So
fairway.
you go.
Like
He's
it's
going into
that far
10
left.
fairway. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going straight. Like if you'll let me, yeah. There's a couple pictures that are floating around out there of hitting it kind of between some palms that are right off the tee. I don't know if I
I
advise
mean, you
this
got to know your
play.
launch angle though on
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
you better get your number right to get it through there. But I think you can get TIO once you get into that fairway, the wrong fairway as well.
So
From what I
scummy.
gather, but it's like
Just
165, 170 or something. Once you get that one in there.
now, guys. Honestly, this is the play on number 7 at Jack's Beach.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I
This
remember
is
being out
the
there with
exact same shot right
I re
here. So we've all done it. We all see it.
I remember being
It's
out there
scummy, but come on, who among us?
with Luke Guthrie who was just hammering drivers over that concrete, bathroom,
Yeah.
but he had like a 5-foot window, and I'm like, "God, this thing's like leaving the club at, 170 miles an hour. Like, if you hit this concrete, like this could go anywhere." So it was terrifying. But yeah, Charlie employing the same strategy. You love to see it. A couple other things just to kind of read into the record. Patrick Fishburne playing very good golf. Again, I know this is, nobody's riding in the streets on some of these things, but guy's gone T12, T8, T6 in his last 3 starts. Watch this space. Good play by him. Amateur Luke Clanton missed the cut. It's just his second missed cut in 9 tour events. And we've been hard on ZJ, of course. I just wanted to shout out his 66-66 start at the age of 49 out there on the PGA Tour. He ended up finishing T21, but impressive feat from him there. Solly, can you give us an update on the winners draft?
Yep, I had
And what the winners draft is?
the winners draft. We did a draft to kick off the season where we each had to go around and pick a player and a tournament that we thought they were going to win. And I picked Russell Henley to win the Sony, and he finished T10, which got me 1 point. If he would have won, I would have got 5 points. If he top 5, I would have got 2 points. But ended up sneaking in a dead heat T10 finish for Russ Henley. So you and I are tied each with 2 points after 2 weeks in the season. So.
Which, listen, if I may, maybe these 2 events are a little easier to pick, but
It's
like,
a pretty good start.
it's pretty good. You got to call your
Yeah.
shot. You gotta pick who you think who you think is going to play in a very far off future week. So I'm pretty happy with
I
that.
also want to give if we're going down the leaderboard a bit, just a shout out to Harry Hall. I know we were dogging him for last week for the hat and the lack of sponsors, but
I don't know.
I mean, we kind of fired a few shots. He has played some really, really good golf going back to Shriners, T9, T13, T14, and a T10. Kind of had a tough back nine today, but he was in the hunt at one point this afternoon. But he's playing some
For the record, we were
serious
just calling
golf.
him a creative.
Yeah, he's creative player. But I mean, you hear that? You probably think we're dogging him. We were dogging him too. He's playing very good golf. Was my point.
On that note, too, I'll also shout out Nick Dunlap, who was TC's pick in our winners draft for next week's Amex, which is looking pretty good now that he's shown some signs of life. Defending champion there. He finished, I believe, T10 after it was a tough start, tough last couple weeks here. He was 55th out of 58 at Kapalua, and then almost finished DFL at the Hero. So wasn't quite sure what was going on. So some signs of life there was good to see. Again, just kind of from the city council meeting here, just reading things into the record. If these are the things you like to follow, the Aeon Swing 5 is going to be, there's a lot of money available at Pebble and Riv. Potentially, we'll get to that later. But JJ Spawn, Patrick Fishburne, Adam Schenk, Jackson Suber, Harry Hall are kind of your guys in the Aeon Swing 5 right now with 2 events to go. So that's kind of a fun little game within the game. That
a lot of people swore that this was very, very, very important. So I hope people are following this very closely. The entries into these fields. Many people have been claiming over the years that this is what the soul of the game. So I hope you're following it very closely.
Well said. And last thing, kind of on the PGA Tour side, saw a pretty decent field next week.
Kind of just like surprising little field. I mean, maybe just at the top we have Xander, JT, Cam Young, Big Tone, Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, and of course Nick Dunlap. Scotty was supposed to be there, but with the surgery is not there. But I guess I feel like maybe we get to the Sunday pod of Amex every year and are like, man, kind of a sneaky good field, and it just. Something's up there. You can see kind of when tournaments are ascending with more and more good players, and I don't have like a great reason as to why this might be. Maybe just the spot on the calendar, but just kind of a surprising group of names for next week.
Indeed,
a nice environment. It's a fucking putting
for a piece of shit putting contest.
Piece of shit putting competition.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a surprise, but
it might be. Neil, I know we were talking about how Kapalua didn't necessarily have as much cream. We're kind of calling it the Cortado event. Maybe Amex might be turned into, I don't know, cappuccino, something like that.
Sure.
Just
a regular old latte.
Yeah. Well, that'd be even better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Watch this space. Anything else from the Sony? Anything else you guys got? Otherwise, we're going to make Solid pay some bills here.
Well, yeah, if you caught the Sony on Golf Channel, you might have seen the first TV commercial ever from our friends at Foresight Sports, the commercials for their new GC3S launch monitor and their link-enabled technology integration with Bushnell Golf. So this link-enabled technology uses your launch monitor shot data to give you like tour caliber course management information, like where you and when you need it the most on the golf course. Until this point, launch monitors have, they provide you like basically very tactical information to guide changes in your swing or equipment. But now the link-enabled technology from Foresight and Bushnell gives you actionable strategic insight, helps you let you know like what your carry distance are based on the weather conditions at the time and the place that you're playing. Hopefully it gets the humidity part right. In this one, I'm going to assume that they get that part right. But link-enabled technology can do that. Plus, it can give you club recommendations for every shot. So you can learn more about link-enabled technology for Foresight and Bushnell Golf at foresightsports.com. That's link-enabled technology at foresightsports.com.
Seems like the AI caddies are coming, Deej.
I agree. And the other thing I was going to say on the Foresight front, and I know this is not part of the read, but since watching TGL and since coming home to a place where it's like 20 degrees again, like just all I've been thinking about is simulators.
Send me up, baby.
I've been spending way too much time on the Foresight website. Like, all right, let me go measure the garage. Let me see where we're at. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's just a peek into the mind, guys. Rest of the episode, I think we're gonna take this into kind of an expanded E9 again. E9
back nine.
Maybe a new
name. We're
back
nine.
Back nine. We're making the turn.
Unnamed 9 bullet point segment. We could call it that.
The
Back
whiskey
nine.
loop. We could get crafty
The
if we
loop.
want.
Yeah, we can maybe
The
call it the
loop.
loop. Yeah, again, still taking submissions and still taking lawsuits from our friends, over at the Subpar Golf Podcast. But number one, nevertheless, number one, Solly, we asked you to dive into the PIP. The PIP results were released this week. We had our 10 names who won and the corresponding amount of money that they won. No surprise to anybody. Well, actually, I will say there was a surprise at the top. Tiger Woods, again,
Good year.
was your winner.
Really good year for the cat.
Really, really good year. Like, man, if Scotty's not
God.
gonna win, if nobody's gonna unseat Tiger, like if Scotty's year this year isn't gonna unseat Tiger, like it's clearly never gonna happen. So Tiger's your winner. Scotty,
But what
number
Tiger
two,
was did not win in the prior year. We'll get into that. But Rory won
that
last year.
right?
Yeah, Rory won the PIP last year. Yeah, we'll get
All
into
right,
it.
that's shocking.
But
Yeah,
for the listeners, Tiger won $10 million.
yeah, just kind of waking up, roll over out of bed, check the phone, just notification from Wells Fargo. Congratulations, Mr. Woods. Inserted
I
$10
wonder where
million.
Tiger banks. That's actually an interesting question. I wonder if he uses like a community bank down in Juke. No, I just really, they've always had great customer service.
I just
Just
really,
like
I
it's
really
it's
like
a
the app.
handshake. It's a handshake thing with me. Firm handshake.
Sorry, let me read these off and then you can take it away. Tiger, number one, $10 million. Scotty Scheffler, number two, $8 million. Rory McIlroy, number three, $4.5 million. These guys all won 4.5 as well. Xander, number four. Jordan Spieth, number five. Colin Morikawa, coming in at $3.5 million apiece. Number seven, Shane Lowry. Number eight, Justin Thomas. Number nine, Tommy Fleetwood. And number 10, Wyndham Clark. Solly, what sticks out to you the most about this year's PIP?
I mean, it's kind of a fitting end to this program, which we can kind of we can do an RIP PIP here at the end of it. But it's more confusion as to what this thing is and how it works, or maybe just more of a man. Is that really all the guys that are left now? I mean, Shane Lowry's seventh this year. He was not in the top 20 in 2023 and finished seventh this year. Not in a year he didn't win a major or necessarily content.
Zurich's the needle, man.
Is it Zurich or is it
That video of him and Rory singing karaoke?
But it's
at
not a
Zurich,
social
that meant
media
a lot.
contest though either. It's not just like it's time on television is like a massive one, and I don't know. Shane Lowry's season did not necessarily stick out to me as getting into the top 10.
Would the full swing stuff count for 2024? I guess it would, right? It came out in 2024. So maybe because he was featured pretty heavily in that, and I gotta think that has something to do with this because I'm seeing a lot of Ryder Cuppers on here.
It's just God, yeah, I'm with you. It's just
like Fleetwood, same thing. Like got a ton of burn.
But that's 2023. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm saying, but kind of the highlights are coming out in 24, or specifically the Netflix stuff.
But Netflix numbers
it's hard
were
to
way
analyze
down.
this stuff. It's hard to analyze when you don't know what the formula is.
Yeah, they've changed it a bunch. Now you don't need to know because it's going away. But Rory won the PIP last year. He was first. He fell to third this past year.
totally missed that.
Yeah, that seems about right. But Xander moved up to fourth from 11th. So I mean, for all the critics of it, play better, and you're going to make a lot more money from this thing.
Also sick that he won two majors.
Yeah,
finished fourth.
Yeah, I know.
Like that guy was on TV a lot.
Hearing how awesome he is though behind the scenes.
Go to jail and you go all the way up to second. Ricky was sixth as of last year, and he did not finish in the top 10 this past year. So,
which that kind of this is not a shot at Ricky, but that that puts a little more faith maybe in that there actually is an algorithm, right? Like the Jordan Spieth being fifth is like he was completely irrelevant last year. Like he was MIA, and he finished fifth is a little like
JT was pretty irrelevant as
right.
well.
So I could have seen like Ricky also being in there somehow.
So some of this though, again, we'll get to maybe that as we wrap up the program.
Well, one thing I'd like to say, looking down this list, is if I don't know, the fact that 3 through 6 all made 4.5. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
like at least make it like 4.8, 4.6, 4.4. Like, what are we doing? This isn't a fucking ranking. It's a free cash giveaway to make them all feel good so they don't leave. Like that to me is the most telling sign of like this is bullshit.
I think
it's like you're not even ranking. You're just paying them out like evenly from 7 to 10. They're all making 3.5. Like that's pointless to me. Just on principle. Like it should be like an actual, if you're gonna rank it, then they shouldn't all make the same amount of money.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite parts of the week, Solly not only looked into this year, but he pulled the data for all the lifelong PIP
Yeah.
Let me
results.
tell you, I did not pull this
Oh,
data.
was there
I
a big nap time?
no,
mean,
I did
geez,
not. I
man.
found this on Facebook. I'm pretty sure. I'm stealing this unaccredited from Facebook. I did not pull this.
So it must be
Google
accurate.
Doc.
Then.
Yeah, I hope it's accurate. I did not audit this information either. But if you're watching on the YouTube channel, we have the 4 columns for each of the years, and I got a few takeaways in there. Tiger Woods wins the most money over the 4-year history of the PIP. He got $45 million. He won the amount in 2021, 22, and
That's
24.
so much money.
How much? Okay, so over those 4 years, he probably played. Let's give him the hero that he played. What? I don't think I can't. I was gonna say he played 20 times, but he didn't.
No,
Oh, way less than that.
Way less, right?
Way less. Way less like PGA Tour events. Yeah.
I mean, God, that's crazy.
What is the window? How many years?
From 2021
Starting in
on,
21?
yeah, onward. He got the car accident in 2020, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
No, he got in a
9,
car
10,
accident in 21.
11 events.
Was it 21? Okay. Yeah, he played 11. That's including the majors?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And the hero.
So
And all the majors he WD'd from.
And Rory gets runner up. He had 35 million. He got 3.5, 12, 15, and 4.5. Spieth finished third. He got 24 million overall. Scotty ended up in fourth at 19.5, tied with JT actually. So only Tiger, Rory, Spieth, and JT got.
God, that's so much money. I'm sorry. It's like the Tiger's 45 million. I was just looking it up. That's like Webb Simpson's entire career. And like Webb Simpson's not, so it's
And the crazy
very
thing
good
with
player.
Tiger is he's not even like in that many commercials anymore. Like there's not even
weird
like
golf
if you're gonna
balls
tell me
.com
this is like
commercials.
off the course juice too, it's like the cat is like actively trying not to be on TV. And it's like, no, I just can't. They're just giving me money, and I'm like a recluse playing Call of Duty. Like it's fucking crazy. This was so stupid.
We'll get into that. I supported this idea.
I mean, it's stupid and it's sick.
Yeah.
I can't make up my mind. It's outrageous though. They're just handing him money.
Which they kind of needed to. I mean, he only made $120 million on the course in his career, which, like, comparatively speaking, is not that much. I mean, he's won $28.5 million in FedEx Cup money and 45 from the PIP. So basically, he's won another 73 million in bonuses and PIP money on top of the 120. Which, yeah, most of his earnings were off the golf course. Anyways, so yeah, only Tiger, Rory, Spieth, and JT got payments each of the 4 years. Other than the 4 that got it all 4 years.
That's like the people who make the Tour Championship every year.
Yeah.
Like Kuchar had that big long stretch. That's gonna be right up there with that. This guy's he's in the PIP top 10.
They were influencing the game.
Resume.
Other than the 4 that got it all 4 years, only 3 have gotten it in all the last 3 years. That's Scotty, Xander, and Colin. So Xander did not get it in 2021. Scotty wasn't really, quite the needle mover yet at that point as well. Morikawa, I'm surprised he'd won 2 majors by then, but did not get any PIP money in 2021. Anyways,
that's right. He was number 11. Remember that?
That's famously was number 11. That's right.
Bitchy changed his little like Twitter username to see, making the 2 L's in his name in 11. That was kind of good stuff.
Tommy is, of course, the highest earner of anyone that has not won a PGA Tour event in this time period. Of course, not named Tiger Woods. He won
what a good claim to fame.
$8.5 million and finished just behind Morikawa and just ahead of Max in total career earnings from the PIP. Max did not finish in the top 10 this year after finishing 10th last year and getting $5 million. Yeah,
he's in the final group of the Masters. Yeah. Like that one kind of blew my mind a little bit. I mean, I know he like very, mucho not good second half of the season, obviously, but it kind of seems like between that, it wasn't the match last year. He did that. I don't know if the Netflix Cup was that last year. Allegedly. It's just interesting. It seemed like he was pretty present last year to not win this. It was kind of weird.
So just notice this: 6 of the top 10 PIP earners in 2021 are on LIV now. So
yeah, sick plan.
program didn't get off to the hottest start. Patrick Cantlay finishes the PIP program getting $4 million over the course of the 4 years, which I'm sure he is totally thrilled with that breakdown.
God, that might be my favorite one.
So we've gotten to a lot of this already, but the question I had was, what's the final verdict on the PIP? Was it a good idea, and should it be going away?
Well, it should go away, yes, but I mean, I think it's not a horrible idea. I know I'm being pretty harsh on it. It just baffles me though. The Tiger stuff is crazy. I think I think they've fixed it, or they've come up with a better idea, which is like, okay, the players have equity now. Now, I don't really know how that works either. So more to come there, but like, yeah, there's upside if you guys work to grow the game, get more exposure, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's kind of what this was like 1.0 of that plan. Like, we're just going to give you like a arbitrary performance bonus, basically. But it's just hard when like I'm sure the players probably don't even know how they calculate it either. So it just probably leads to people being pissed off. So it's like when everyone's, oh, this is a great idea. No one thinks about the like 3 unintended consequences of that idea, which is like, it just makes everybody grumble that didn't make the top 10.
It's a bit of a like, we got all these snakes, so we release these mongooses, to kill all the snakes. But now, fuck, these mongoose, like they're just wreaking havoc on everything. So I don't know what
owning everywhere. So now we have too many mongooses. We got mongooses everywhere. Now we need a population control on the mongooses.
It would be like if something totally random just came up and like, hey, Deej, we're gonna build you a house and it's gonna be sick. Like, we're building you like a $3 million house. Like, go like that. You move into your house. You'd be like, fuck yeah, that's a great idea. And Neil, we're building you a $6 million house, man. Like, let's like move on in. Let's go. Deej all of a sudden gonna be like, what the fuck, man? Why did he get double what I got here?
Yeah, I would ask for a rational explanation of like, well, what did he do more of? I would like to do that. Like, was he in more commercials? Should I go get more sponsors? Like, which is a very fair question for the players to ask. And that's why this is a very stupid program.
and
it should go away. Yeah. To answer the final verdict is yes, it should go away.
that's I think where I shake out to is going back to 2020, 2021. Like, did I have a better idea of how to keep these guys around? Probably not, right? But now looking back on it in 2025, is it worth keep going? Nah, I'd say we gave it a shot.
Did it do its job? It's
seems like-
stable. It helped stabilize things until they got to the
Yeah.
equity part. I mean, after year 1, no, but kind of some of the steps they took to make sure you stuck around for it, and it seemed to work.
What is this, like $150 million that got spent on this over 4 years?
I think it started with 40 million, and then it went to, I know it got up to 100 at some point, but yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's not that much. I mean, like,
it's a lot of money.
I mean, but compared to how much the top players have subsidized this tour for this period of time,
sure.
Like the goal of that was like, yes, I mean, Rory's earnings on course aren't necessarily are barely double of, insert name that, and Rory's bringing more than double the value there was the goal. Did it achieve it perfectly? I don't think so. I think that would have been impossible, but like, did some of the most influential people of the game take home a little bit more cash and make it feel like less that they're subsidizing the Eric Coles of the world? Probably at least a little bit. So from that regard, I think it served at least somewhat of a purpose.
And I think it's worth reiterating as well, and we're kind of playing the hits now, that the only reason that it exists like this, and the only reason they had to come up with this big complicated formula, was because of the like tax structure of the PGA Tour and the fact that they can't just dish out bonuses for no reason to these guys. And there has to be a mathematical, formulation for why Neil gets a $6 million house and I get a $3 million house. And so that's kind of part of one of the, I don't know, if you don't have any skin in the game, which we don't, it's like part of the comedy of the last 5 years is just watching these people bend over backwards to get out of paying taxes, basically, right? And so it's that part of it is really funny to me, is that you kind of have to like, piss off number 11 Colin Morikawa in order to, keep this whole thing that started in the 60s like running on the rails. But it's I don't know, RIP to the PIP.
It's
I would
good
say
content.
net positive.
Yeah.
It's a net positive on this podcast, and I wish it I wish it well. Long live the PIP. Let's move on to number 2, and I'm going to start with this simple question for both of you guys. Neil, I'll start with you. 1 to 10 What is your excitement level for week 2 of the TGL?
I'm going to say I'm going to say 6. Right now, there's a lot to watch. You got NFL, busy week, like Monday night. Am I dying? There's football on. Am I dying to watch golf? No. Will I watch it? Yes. I think, I had fun last Tuesday watching it with you blokes, which was great. But I'm worried. I'm not worried. I don't think I'm ever going to care who wins.
Yeah.
And so that's when the novelty wears off. I don't know if it'll hold my attention, but I will be watching tomorrow. It's just, I'm not like jonesing for it.
I would wait till Tuesday because it's on Tuesday. So,
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry. Is it every Tuesday or
it's
is
just
it
until football's done?
until football's over?
It's
There we
Tuesday.
go. So Tuesday.
The next 2 are Tuesday, then it's Monday, then Tuesday, then Monday. So yeah, it's a little. It kind of bounces back and forth between Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm probably a 7 just because I'm a huge Jupe Lynx fan.
I know.
Sure. I'm.
There's no love lost between you and me this week. So
100%.
Jupe Lynx versus my beloved LAGC.
You've got more East Coast West Coast thing, which you just never know. How this is all going to go, but
throw the records out with these two.
I'm worried about my team. I really am worried about them.
Your team, most of them don't even play.
Yeah, it's a bit ceremonious at this point, but I think if I look back at, I mean, we were vibing pretty hard on Tuesday after the first one. It was fun. Maybe a tad overreacting to it. I guess maybe because we were just a little surprised that it moved so well in that first hour and it was entertaining.
It certainly exceeded our expectation, though. I had fun watching it, no doubt about it.
The more I thought back on it, it was kind of like, they kind of lost steam when they brought the guys in the booth, and we had some Khaled stuff going on there. Singles kind of lost steam a little bit. All to say, like, it was their first go around. It's still a very good passing grade, and we ran a little poll on Twitter, and 89% of people on Twitter said they gave it a passing grade, which you can't get 89% of golf Twitter to agree on anything. I think that was a positive. But all that to say, like, I'm not like guaranteeing that the rest of the season is going to be hyper interesting. To your point, Neil, I think it's okay that we don't care who wins or loses. Like in the match, it almost kind of becomes funny if teams get their asses handed to them, and I think
it's a TV show more than it is a sport.
That thing's going to take time. If we ever do actually care, I'm not even promising we'll ever care who wins or loses. I don't think that's going to be in year one. I think that's totally fair. I think it is just kind of, of golf in a brand new format that, again, probably isn't really designed for us golf fans, but like I think the golf fans actually did like it for the most part. I think. For me though, it's gonna get if the courses don't play firmer, which is the dumbest thing to talk about.
Conditioning doesn't get better.
If they don't, it gets a lot less interesting because that was a part that I thought was very severely lacking.
Even simulator golf is most interesting when the ball's on the ground. It should, or at least it should be. Can I play some audio from you guys? I agree with everything you're saying. I think we probably got. I don't know. I stand by. I think. Most or even all of what we said. Like, I had a great time, and a lot of that might have been just sitting in the garage watching you guys, because I think, like I was saying earlier, I don't think it's a like, this has always been my take. Like, I don't think it's a sports league. I think it's a TV show. And if you make like an entertaining TV show, man, again, it's 20 degrees out here. I don't have a whole lot else to do on a Tuesday night. Like, I would love to watch a fun golf TV show. Anybody who's treating it as a very serious sports league is going to have a very different opinion. One that I saw going around, and some of this was spurred on by our guy Max. We were making a bunch of jokes about New York sports talk radio, and oh my god, they got to be apoplectic. And New York GC is getting their ass kicked. Mike Francesca responded on his podcast. Did you guys hear this?
Francesca.
You're gonna get roasted.
Francesca?
Yeah. You're gonna get. Yeah, they're gonna come for you now, brother.
I even looked at the pronunciation. That's on your friends at Google, Neil. They led me astray. Listen, I don't.
Well, I have my own issues with pronunciation, but it's always been Francesca to me.
It's good to be with you then. I'll throw myself on the mercy of all your haters as well.
God, this should be good stuff.
Here you go. This is, and I will point this out up front. This is edited by me. I did trim it down, but I'm very confident I did not cut out any context here.
I watched it, and all I'd say is, if that's the future of sports, we're all in trouble. It is just a concept that makes no sense. It was so tedious. I actually got the idea that the people who were in there, who probably were paid to be in there or were employees, because they looked so bored it was ridiculous, They built this edifice in Palm Beach Gardens, which probably 2 years from now will be Steve Cohen's home. This thing was dreadful. All they should have done is when the golfers got up to tee off, they should have been shooting seltzer water at them. And then there should have been a clown's mouth out there in a windmill. That's all you needed. It was so bad. It was ridiculous. The TGL, Victor Hovland, and the best player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, both said no to this. Congratulations to them for not lending their, taking the fast buck for this thing, which was really embarrassing. And some people won't say it because it's Tiger Woods and it's Rory. And then they don't want to get Tiger Woods mad or Rory mad. Now, listen, I'm sure Tiger Woods is making a buck off it. I'm sure Rory's making a buck off it. And no one's going to dispute that Tiger Woods is as good as we've ever seen. That has nothing to do with this. This is a bad idea. That is not going to work. It's just dreadful. Dreadful. And if you watched it, you know it. The TGL. If this lasts, now it was supposed to start last year, but the roof caved in, so they had to wait another year. Well, you know what? It started last night, and the roof caved in again. We'll see you later.
God, that's good stuff. Every time he thought he was done, he goes in for more.
I just like the
love it when these guys
We'll
drop in like
steal
some
it.
big vocabulary, like edifice. Good stuff. He's not wrong at the beginning, though, Deej. Going back to your point, if this is the future of sports, we are all fucked.
Totally.
So if you view it that way, I agree with him. That's a problem. But I think you can choose to view it as a TV show, and I think that's the way to go about it.
Solly, what was the audience size? Did we dive into any of that?
919,000 watched it, which seemed to be a good rating. I mean, it rated higher than the Duke Pitt college basketball game that led right into it. So I'm not like an expert in ESPN television ratings, but like that blew away the final round of the century. So, I mean, maybe week one that was to be expected. And kind of part of the appeal here is like it's on ESPN, and people, like, when they're at home and they want to watch sports, they just have ESPN on in the background. So that's, again, part of the reason why I think this thing could be successful. But people seem thrilled on the TGL side with that rating, 919,000. And some of the fall PGA Tour events weren't even getting 100,000 viewers on the Sundays. So that's kind of a little bit of the context to say, like, maybe golf needs to be repackaged a little bit, at least in a trial period. And I think that so far success. I'd be surprised if they kept it up. Tiger will rate pretty well this week, I have assumed, but would be surprised if in March it is doing that well.
I'm also really interested to see what the Tiger pop looks like this week. Because like that's always been the universal truth in the game is like, oh my God, if Tiger's like it's gonna be unbelievable. Like that, some of that shine has to have worn off over the last, like we said, he's played 11 events over the last whatever 4 or 5 years. So it's like I'll just be very interested to see what that number will be compared to week one. But let's get to the important stuff here, TGL related. Solly bravely stepped out on the plank last time, designed our first TGL hole, which, by the way, I guess I'll start. Will you apologize to the people of Nintendo and Wii Golf for plagiarism? Because there was immediate
for plagiarizing the 9th hole.
I absolutely will not, because I actually went down a little rabbit hole and tried to look this up myself today. And I if anything, I think Wii Golf plagiarized this from NES Golf from back in the day, according to a Reddit forum that I found.
Wow.
Talk about the closer.
Their hole is also a 500-yard par 5 where you have to island hop to all the different points to get to the green. Mine was a choose your own adventure drivable par 4 where you could lay up, you could do a really short layup, a mid-level layup, or go for it. So absolutely no apology. Also, they have water. Mine was lava. It's completely different. And mine is OB. So I will be requesting apologies from anybody that accused me of plagiarizing a game I've never played before, and they're not even that similar of holes. So I'm glad you gave me the forum to state my case here.
No, that's good stuff. I'm glad you did your homework here. That's very helpful.
I put more work into this than I did designing the hole. So,
well, we were blessed to receive the news that Neil was going to follow up and do his hole today. Neil, the stage is yours here.
Yeah. So listen, I might need some help with some of the. I'm open to suggestions and making updates here, but this is called the rub of the screen. It's a 465. You know, now that I'm thinking about, why don't we make it a 469-yard par 4? Big, veiny, triumphant bastard. Okay, a hard one here. We've got the tee box here, a little island tee box, right? And then you've got two options off the tee. You got fairway up the left, easy shot, runs out at 210. So listen, you're hitting 7-iron off this tee. If you want to lay up and play it safe, you can. But the shot is, you know, it's a fader's paradise here. So you've got, like, I want you to picture the way the green sits at Cypress, the 16th at Cypress. That's what you're looking at up here on the right. Okay, it's about a 240. Maybe we could drop this back to a 230 carry, and it banks into a tunnel. Okay, and so you got a bunker there on the left, on that kind of island or that peninsula up there on the right side, and it's a little bit elevated. So you're hitting up about, let's call it 20 yards. So if you make it to this peninsula, if you catch the funnel, you're going to hit the tunnel. Okay. But if you don't, you then have what did I put in there? Like a 220, let's say 220 shot elevated down. And Solly, you're going to like this. You see how that green sits? That is the angle. Okay. So even if you don't catch the funnel into the tunnel,
Sure,
you've got the best angle to hit this green. If you play it safe and you hit it to the fairway, you got about 240, 250 in, best case. And then up there on the left by the green, left of the green, this is where you get the sponsors involved. I'm thinking car wash things, like vertical hazards. Like, instead of trees, I'm thinking you could put the business solver, car wash dummies up there. You could, I was kind of envisioning, Deej, like, it could change week to week. You could put, like, the Jack's Beach Range, how like boats
sure,
and lifeguard chairs and just like junkyard shit. Like, it's all like ones and zeros. It's all on a screen. Like,
true living document.
Yeah, you could make it totem poles or flags. You could put flags with the sponsors on them, just like vertical hazards. So it's like in your head, like, okay, I got to lay up and then I got to hit through all this bullshit to get to the green. So I'm not married to par 4. Maybe it's a par 5, a short par 5. Like, I haven't, pars are relevant, obviously. But the key here, I mean, the real joy is the tunnel. So if you hit that big fade, right? And I'm talking about these guys hitting like a driving iron or a 7-wood up there.
Please, if you're listening to this in your car, you got to go find the YouTube, because this isn't going to make any sense otherwise.
Well, if you catch the tunnel, then then it's truly like, throw in a formula, and let's say 70% of the time it spits it out on the green and you're putting for eagle.
Yeah.
Or there's a right, maybe it spits out into that back bunker. Or rubber the screen, man. Like, 1 in every 20 is just going to spit it into the shark-infested waters there. And it's like, oops, sorry, And then these guys just get all pissy, So it's like, yeah, maybe you don't want to hit the tunnel. Maybe you want to just lay it up there on that plateau, and then you've got the, you're hitting downhill into that green at the right angle. So I was also thinking, like, do we want shark-infested waters? Or, you know what else they could get involved? It could be a desert. And it's like, yeah, you could hit it in the desert, but there's a 70% chance you get bit by a snake out there.
Spiders.
So like, you got to, like, if you're gonna hit it from the desert, you better get in there and hit it as quickly as possible. That's on their mind, because if they get bit by a snake, then they're down for the rest of the night, right? So then they're playing a man down if they take the risk to hit it among the snakes. There's a lot we can do with this, guys. There's a lot we can do.
Good strategy for my team. Just if Kiz is not vibing, just throw him out to the snakes, and then you could just do a 2-man.
Exactly.
Which sounds ridiculous, but listen, go watch the latest Tour Sauce season. This is what real golfers deal with, man.
Snakes.
Snakes. This is what we had to battle through.
If you want to get the anti-venom, it's going to cost you the hole, like the hammer. You throw it. Yeah, gotta.
Only one team gets the anti-venom.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Francesa is going to hate this, based on his feedback from the last pod.
Well, I guess, but my point with Francesa is, like, I'm not treating this as a sport. Like, I think they need to lean into the miniature golf stuff, right? Like, that's the miniature golf is not it can be. There are people that play competitively, but it's really fun. And I think that asking these guys to execute a shot, like, yo, can you hit it in that tunnel up there 250 yards away? That's when these guys can show off a little bit.
Totally.
Like, yeah. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to try to hit it in the tunnel. Like, that to me is what they should be leaning into, like, versus like the Nicklaus design holes, which was like, oh, cool, that looks like fucking Harbor Town. Like, this sucks.
I agree. Neil, great job. That's
Oh, and also, Deej, to your point about the ball being on the ground.
Yeah.
Imagine that like FPV view of the ball just trundling in the tunnel,
Like
like
the
which
Willy-
I don't know what's gonna happen, which hole's it gonna pop out of, and then the whole arena's going nuts. When it in the shark infested waters.
Like the
Hell
Willy
yeah.
Willy Wonka tunnel, you know? It could
Yeah,
be-
exactly. You can do all kinds of stuff in there. You can throw business solver logos everywhere. Like it's great.
Neil's getting into real. I hope she reads this, bro, with Business Solver.
Yeah, God, they're
They're
chirping
blowing
me
us up
now,
on
too.
Instagram this week. Yeah.
Oh God.
They're in the running for Prestige Worldwide now, for sure. Apparently, it's HR stuff. Anyway, that's my whole. You guys like it, dislike it? What do you
I
think?
love
Great.
it. I love it.
Great.
Can't render that one fast enough. Get that to the engineers.
I'm
love
open to
it.
Send it
suggestions.
to Pisa. He'll make it happen.
Absolutely. He will say, doing simple designs is the hardest thing in the world. I don't know if this necessarily fits that, but I do like
I don't know. I kept it pretty. It's just the tunnel is the only real thing.
if the tunnel collapses.
I don't know.
We'll deal with that when
Then-
we
We'll deal
Yeah,
with that.
that's not. The engineering stuff isn't my job.
All right, let me rip through a couple quick ones here. Number 3,
Well,
Jordan.
hold on. Let me shout out. We got to shout out our good friends at Whoop.
Okay, sure, please.
This podcast is also brought to you by Whoop, and it's 2025, and there's no better product to help us kick off the new year than wearing our Whoops, gentlemen. We did the goals podcast. I know we all have some physical goals. We've been wearing Whoop for a few years now, but if you're not familiar, it's a fitness wearable that does so much more than activity tracking. You've probably seen it on the wrist or bicep of one of your favorite pros. Now, we are not pros, but we're using Whoop to help us hit our health goals, whether it's sleep, recovery, or fitness related this new year. Just put the call out. We are doing a 10 strain challenge in February. If you have a Whoop, that will make sense to you. If you don't, you should consider it. If you want to join the NLU Whoop group, use the code COMM, COMM-NLU. I heard there was some issues with that code. I got it fixed.
Hell
So
yeah.
go ahead, COMM-NLU. If you don't have a Whoop, head to join.whoop.com/NLU to get started with Whoop on a free 1-month trial that includes the hardware and a completely unlocked app experience. If you don't love it, you can send it back, no question asked. And again, if you already have the Whoop, get set up in the Whoop group, COMM-NLU. Get ready for February. We're bringing the noise. Cheers.
I'm extremely pumped. I can't wait to get started, Neil. Let's do it. All right, moving down the list here. Number 3, Jordan Spieth is returning to competitive golf at Pebble Beach, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. According to Doug Ferguson of the AP, Spieth is set to return at Pebble after undergoing left wrist surgery. He has not played since August. I believe the FedEx St. Jude was his last event. Not a good year for Jordan last year. Two top 10s in the last calendar year. But he has played the AT&T 12 times and finished in the top 10 in half of them. So, gentlemen, giraffe time. Stick your neck out. What I want to know is, where does Spieth finish at Pebble? Neil.
I would predict a honeymoon phase, but not a great honeymoon. I think he makes the cut and he finishes top 20.
I think he'll make the cut.
Sticking
as well.
that neck out with the giraffe.
Oh yeah, there is no cut. That's my bad. That's my bad. But I'll say top 20. But I think it's a comfy place for him. But no, do I think he's going to go out and win or scare us with a win? I don't think so.
T18. Jordan Spieth finishes at Pebble.
I would
That's a good one.
co-sign that.
Yeah,
that's
that's a really good
exactly what I'm thinking.
I'll stick my neck out and I'll say T22. I'll slightly take.
And look, in those signature events, that's not the highest finish, right? With only 70, 80 guys
Right.
or so in the field. So that's kind of
So, are you generally bullish on Spieth's comeback or bearish?
I probably bullish on where it's modeled at right now, which is still bearish, compared to what we know Jordan Spieth to be. I looked this up earlier. I spoiled it to you guys. Jordan Spieth has won 2 times in the last 2,730 days. Going back to the Open Championship, he's won 2 golf tournaments. So it's just kind of shocking when you look at it through that lens. But who knows how much this wrist has really been bothering him. I know he was super excited to get this procedure done and get back at it. And there's some fight left in the old boy, I have to say. But we're in a different era now of speed where there's just like, there wasn't really a Xander. I mean, Rory was kind of the Xander Rory wasn't even as fast as Xander is currently, before back in 2017 when Spieth was tearing everything up. And obviously there's Scotty now, and there's just a whole different kind of batch of dudes that can do things with the golf ball that Jordan can't. He has made up for it in the past with some of his magic, but that the probability of that all happening just gets a little harder and harder every year when you don't bomb it. And he's added some length on his own, but it's still, he's like a mid 170s guy. And when you got dudes that live in the mid 180s, it's just a different sport.
It is. I'm excited to see him injury free at least. At least put the excuse aside and let's see what we can do. Number 4 here, guys. The creators are in the open field. The creators are going to be making content. PGA Tour announced this week that the Creator Classic has now evolved into the Creator Series in 2025. This along with Pro Shop. They're going to be basically doing Creator Classics at 3 events. This was, of course, the influencer sweepstakes that took place at the Tour Championship last year. They're going to be doing 3 of them this year at the Players, at the Truist, which is basically they moved Wells Fargo from Quail Hollow up to where? Philly Cricket.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
And the third one will be back at the Tour Championship. So I guess initial reaction to this, and then my other question is, I don't know where we stand on the Creator Council. Is there an invite floating around for the NLU squad? Does that
Are you begging
automatically
for
go
it?
to
Are you
our
asking
club?
for it?
No, I'm not. It's not going to me. You guys saw that firsthand playing golf this week. But my question is, does that auto go to our club champion? Is it something that we vote on? I think there's something very interesting on the horizon here, and I just wanted to get ahead of it. So
I mean, Randy's really been
It should be a
campaigning
bet.
for
The
it.
loser
I
of the
think
bet has to go play the Creator Classic.
gotta send Randy, man. It'd be so
I
sick.
feel like
Would
when
watch.
Randy had to do that TikTok dance as a punishment, and he just did it like so slow. I feel like that would be the golf equivalent of that. He's just looks like he's a podcast out there on 1/2 speed.
I think this makes sense. I mean, it was I would say a success for them in 2024. I guess I immediate concern is like too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Let's blow it out. Let's scale immediately. I guess 3 isn't huge. I kind of heard rumors there was gonna be like 6 of them. So I guess this is better than that.
Solly, what do you think?
I think it is a good thing. My suggestion, I said this after the first one, and still would be the case of like, I don't think it should be for pro golfers, especially. I don't think card carrying tour members should be competing along this thing. It just made it very confusing for me. Like, is this a pro golf? Is anybody with a YouTube channel eligible for this? Like, or is it about like amateur golfers getting to go play on a tour course on the Wednesday right before it? Which like answers a question for me of like, what would it look like if good played on the golf course, right? But on a setup of the players, like going down the stretch, hitting the shot on 17 and 18, like that's good content. I think they run the risk of it getting, I don't know, dull rather quickly if it's all the pros at the very top. So, but it's good that it's expanding. It was a success. A lot of people watched it. The PGA Tour should be doing everything in their power to link themselves to a very fastly growing YouTube golf community on a product that is very much not growing fast. They're late to the game. They've missed the boat on a lot of this stuff, and but it still should be celebrated that they're looking into this and doing stuff like that. So again, goes in the TGL bucket of like, it's harmless. It's a Wednesday. It's not changing.
Totally.
And it's added to the table. It's not taking anything off the table.
Agree. And also the 3 places they picked are going to be
those are great
dope.
choices.
Like watching people play 17, freaking out, so nervous they can't spit. I mean, that'll be great. I'm in. All right, number 5, the Team Cup. Solly, I know you're just mad as hell watching all this camaraderie on Team Europe. GB and I, captained by Justin Rose, beat the shit out of Team Continental Europe 17-8. And yeah, I just what's how you feeling about the Team Cup, man? And how can they not come up with a better name than the Team Cup? That's unbelievable to me.
I just looked. It was formerly known as the Hero Cup. It was
Shout out to Dr.
sponsorship
Moonjal.
reasons. It was reminiscent of the Sevi Trophy. There was all kinds of drama over the Sevi Trophy becoming the Hero Cup, and now it just becomes the Team Cup. But GB and I versus Europe in Abu Dhabi, which the GB and I team, captained by Justin Rose, whooped up on Europe, who was captained by Francesco Molinari, 17-8. in that one.
Oof.
Tommy Ladd, of course, absolutely cleaned up in match play as he typically does. Nikolai Højgaard had to miss with illness. Julian Guerrier had to fill in at the last minute, which was unfortunate. But yeah, GB and I overwhelmed the Continental Europe team. But very strange event. Just Tyrrell Hatton there, but like no Rory and no Rahm, and Tom McKibben's playing, and he's going to live even though it's not been announced yet, and it's just all kinds of just very, very awkward event.
Did Hovland play?
No.
There's a lot of, I don't know. Did I watch a lot of the Team Cup? No, I did not. But does it stand in pretty stark contrast, fair or unfair, to, the news? Like, basically, like the up and coming players that could be like future Ryder Cuppers for Team Europe getting together for an event where they all get to know each other, get in a locker room, play as partners, play different formats. Like, does that stand in pretty stark contrast to the developments of Team USA this offseason, which is, we've decided to finally resolve the matter of getting paid? Yes, it does. And so that's where I'm like, I don't know. You go watch that DP World Tour Productions Una Familia film, and like there's scenes in there from the Team Cup where, Luke Donald is learning how to be a captain and he's learning how to work with these guys. So I don't think it's nothing. I mean, I think it's a net positive for their team. But again,
it's almost
me
like
as a fan, I'm not really firing up too much.
It's so small that it can be treated as a developmental thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the President's Cup, I'm not gonna pretend like it's big,
Yeah.
but it like pretends to be big, and you
Totally.
treat it like a serious event, and you don't do trial programs with it.
No, I
so
think you're right.
that's an interesting takeaway.
And I would say I'm sure the Team Cup's really fun,
For sure.
both like
Yeah.
players and fans. So it's like good on them.
Yeah.
Keep it
Kinda
up.
seems like it has like a member guest sort of
Yeah.
vibe, but so I'm going to turn this one over to you. Number 6, just a general live corner.
Sure.
Kind of a low key, a lot of live stuff going on this week.
Plenty going on. The schedule came out. I'm going to run through that really quick in case you haven't got a chance to peep it. February 6th through the 8th in Riyadh to kick off the season. That is opposite the Waste Management Phoenix Open, of course, at Riyadh Golf Club. The next week, so that is a Thursday through Saturday as well, because the next week they are headed to Adelaide for the second event of the year at the Grange, which is supposed to be opposite the Genesis, which is TBD on when or how that is going to be played. We can get to that a little bit later. March 7th through 9th, they're going to Hong Kong. The next week, they are in Singapore. Those two events are
Which that one's
they're opposite API and players in back-to-back weeks. So to start the year, opposite Waste Management, Riv, API, and the players. Then it gets into some stuff that makes a lot more sense, in my opinion. April 4th through 6th, right before the Masters, is Live Miami at Trump Doral. That's opposite Valero.
What's next? What's that music?
And then we are going to Bienvenidos a la Chapultepec Golf Club, April 25th through 27th. They're going to Mexico City for Chapultepec. I'll be watching that one because I missed that golf course. And that one is opposite Zurich. So Liv is going to win that week. The next week, they are May 2nd through 4th are in Korea, the Jack Nicklaus golf course. That is opposite the CJ Cup, ironically.
CJ Cup honoring Byron Nelson.
A month off, June 6th through 8th in DC.
Hold on. Can we go back? That's Jack Nicklaus Golf Course in Korea, opposite the CJ Cup in Texas. Is good stuff. That you can't make that one up.
That is the outcome of the merger. This week of shared prosperity. June 6th through 8th, they're going to DC at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, which just hosted the Solheim Cup. It has hosted many President's Cups. That is opposite RBC Canada, because RBC had to get screwed.
Of course. And I'm sure there's going to be some big announcement that week, too.
Or that's going to be like Rahm versus Brooks in a 14-hole playoff. It's it's the most epic golf tournament of all time.
June 27th through 29th in Dallas at Merido. That's opposite Rocket and Mortgage. Seems like a good slot for a tournament. July 11th through 13th in Andalusia at Valderrama. That's opposite Scottish Open. July 25th through 27th in the UK at the JCB Golf and Country Club. That's opposite 3M. And then to close out the year, Chicago back to Bolingbrook, August 8th through 10th, opposite the first playoff event, the set at St. Jude. Next week, Indianapolis, the club at Chatham Hills. That is opposite the next playoff event at BMW. And finally, the Michigan Team Championship, August 22nd through 24th at the Cardinal at St. John's Resort, is opposite the Tour Championship.
There's a lot there. Can you boil that
Sure.
down? What's your takeaways?
Out of the rotation from last year are Mayakoba, Las Vegas, Jeddah/King Abdullah Economic City, Houston, Nashville, and the Greenbrier.
Is it possible the game got too big in King
I think
Abdullah
so.
Economic
It was
City?
too much. They had to share the prosperity there as well over to the
That's
capital.
interesting.
The repeats in the schedule are Adelaide, Hong Kong, Singapore, Miami, Dallas, Andalusia, the UK, and Chicago. Dallas was the team championship last year and has now moved into June, for the record, which is better because they played that in August, and that was a
I was going to say,
horrific idea.
final event in Michigan sounds a little better than final event in Dallas.
The new additions to the schedule: Riyadh, Mexico City, Korea, DC, and Indianapolis. So in total, they're going up two signature events, plus the players, plus all 3 playoff events, and also the waste management. So
And the Super Bowl.
On waste management week. I don't know if they're finishing a day early.
But I guess with the time change, it would be, probably won't really have anything to do with, or wouldn't be the same time.
That is another reason they are up against. They are finishing that Saturday. Is they are finishing ahead of the Super Bowl. Actually, assuming that is still waste management week. So yeah. Any reactions from the schedule? Anything change anything in your guys' mind?
No, kind of. I mean, seems like foot on the gas still. There's getting into new markets, whether that's, it feels like a winning strategy, right? I don't know. You could read that either way of like, please don't come back, or we're expanding into new territories. So
No, I think they've,
which way you want to read that.
candidly, I think in the U.S., they picked some really good markets for, like Indianapolis, Michigan, just some places, Miami, like places that like probably won a golf tournament. They're not trying to go to like big cities where there already is one. I think it's they've learned some things, and this is seems pretty well thought out. And then early in the year, it's hard to avoid. I mean, I guess you could go. They could have gone against Amex or Farmers or something. Like Riv feels like the only one. I think Bay Hill's signature elevated in name only. Like that's, the only one that really stands out is like the players, which just feels like a double middle finger to the
all 3 playoff events and the championships going up against each other. It seems just a little. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me, I go back to the Mike Wan interview a lot when he talked about LPGA strategy of like they wanted to be on TV at the same time as the PGA Tour because they're better off catching people flipping channels than they are setting out to watch it, which like broke my.
You know how many fucking commercials you gotta have?
It broke my spirit.
Be the strategy
a little bit, but maybe that's more of their strategy of like that they're going to be on Fox this year. I believe it starts this year. Is that right? The TV deal's announced.
I think so. Yeah,
and so maybe they're thinking that they can, I don't know, either compete, which they've not been able to do to this point, or get people to flip channels enough to the point where their numbers improve. I don't know. It's just a weird rollover. This is year 4 of LIV. Like a lot of people, as I understand it, the final year of a lot of people's contracts. So the future has never been more of a question mark on this thing. And we'll get into some of the signings and all of that. If you guys are ready, we can go right into that, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's been 4 years.
The stove's hot, man.
The stove is hot. The Ben Campbell is officially headed to the Range Goats. I didn't get the details of the contract on that one.
No, I had that one on my big. I got him in the free agent
draft. There was
a
hot market for his services. Tom McKibben is unofficial, but it's official. He will be going to LIV, just not announced yet. Luis Masavu is headed to the Fireballs, the 16th ranked amateur in the world. Also, Yubin Yang, I assume, or Yubin Jang, a Korean player who is headed to the Ironheads. So from Hatton and Rom last year to Ben Campbell, Tom McKibben, Luis Masavu, and Yubin Yang as the big new additions to LIV this season.
Solly, we all know McKibben's going. That's not the news. The news is who else is going. Okay.
I was gonna say no big tone on this list,
Again, like I go back to like the common sense thing of like, yeah, it kind of seems like it's dying off, but doesn't seem to ever actually die. So I've refused to claim it dead until it's been gone for several years. But man, if you're pretending to be a LIV stan still, I don't know what you're like actually getting pumped about this year because the momentum officially stopped, I guess, unless they sign somebody here in a very short period of time. But
what's happening to the guys who are like getting relegated? Because weren't there like decent names that got kind of
like Brandon Grace like got relegated or was in the relegation zone. He went and played the LIV promotions event, did not qualify for it, and then just re-signed with Stinger. Just so Bubba also was in the relegation zone and just re-signed with the Range Goats and is back.
Most goats.
Just a point of this to say, like, shout out, honestly, I know the OWGR has taken so much flack, but shout out to them for not, like, bowing down to this and, like, giving in on points, because, like, this shows off, like, these people could not qualify for this tour and just got to sign right back up with it. Like, that's the crux of the whole problem, and we don't have to do the whole OWGR point, rant, other than to say, like, I know people have gotten very tired of the sports washing and all that stuff over the years, but, like, it would have been easy. You know, there's exemptions being given to players in the majors, and, like, there's been some leniency in some things, but not giving them points was 100% the right call, and that's holding up very well over the test of time, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's not it. We had Eugenio Lopez Chikara had some quotes, as now he is out of LIV.
Was this a contract thing? Like he had a contract that ended, or like I it's so hard to keep up.
I don't know. I really don't know. But he had some quotes. He said, "When I joined LIV, they promised OWGR and majors, but it didn't happen. I trusted them. I was the first young guy. Then the others came after I made the decision, but OWGR and majors still hasn't happened." He also said, "On LIV, nothing changes. There's only money. It doesn't matter if you finish 30th or first, only money. I'm not a guy who wants more money. What will change my life is playing in Hawaii and qualifying for the majors, qualifying for the Masters, the Ryder Cup." He also said, "I see what it's like to win on the PGA Tour and how your life changes, how you get major access and ranking points." He also said, "I'm not blaming them. They probably know more, but they don't really care about the young guys much. I'm very thankful for what they've done. Obviously, LIV didn't exist when I was growing up. I was watching Tiger Woods winning on the PGA Tour, and I want to do that."
That's tough for the LIV platform, man.
I just want to go back to the first quote though. Like, I trusted them. I was the first young guy. I mean, it feels like he was like, I was a trailblazer, and
He was one of the first, like,
know.
college guys, like, straight to
Yeah.
this pro, like, not going to
Yeah.
try for anything else, going straight to that.
Pretty good repudiation of like the whole deal.
Yeah, what was fun, I've nothing will get you farther separated out from all this bullshit drama than welcoming 2 children into the world. I can promise you that, and I've been so removed from it. Did a little, like, LIV Stan bot check in on some of this and how it was being twisted, and I think people are giving up. I think they're kind of giving up on the whole
Not
charade.
so
I
fast,
know, they're
Solly.
right, actually, but there was
We'll
not
see.
like there wasn't a good explanation for any of these quotes. There was some very big conspiracy tinfoil hat ones, but it's like, yeah. But also, you read all that, and it's like, of fucking course. Like,
Well, that was kind of my
for
takeaway. It's
4
like,
years,
dude,
we've had to
that
pretend like this wasn't the truth, and we got yelled at for saying all of these things. Like, it's been the biggest waste of everyone's time. I got a trivia question, though, for you guys. Eugenio Chikara Lopez, career LIV earnings.
this what did he play? 2 seasons?
He's made 34 starts.
Okay.
That probably will help you.
I'm gonna say $9 million.
I'm gonna say like $18 million.
It's $18 million.
Is it really?
It's $18 million.
How about
How did
that?
you do that?
That's incredible. I'm just a huge fan. I'm the Los Fireballs are my squad, man. You know that.
Who has made the most money
good for him.
In LIV history? Who's the all-time career money leader? And how
And that's
much?
outside of like whatever money he was guaranteed.
Yes, that is
Oh, yeah.
earnings
Like,
on the course.
Yeah.
All-time LIV career money winner
Yes.
or leader.
Yes.
It's got to be Gooch still,
It
right?
is Taylor Gooch. Any idea on how much? Again,
Big
no
God,
fixed.
this is where I got to walk away from the blackjack table here. I don't think I can 3 in a row. I will say it's probably been $41 million.
I was gonna say 42.
56 million in 35
Oh my
in 35 starts. DJ is second with 55 million in 35 starts. Rahm is actually fifth on the list in 12 starts. Rahm made $38 million on the course. That includes the 18 million for winning the LIV Golf points list last year. Cam Smith is third. He's made 40 million in 31 of it. So Rahm's averaging 3.1 million per start so far on LIV, on top of the money that he was paid directly. Anyways, that's the LIV corner for this past week. Stoked for the new season.
That's good stuff, man. There's a lot of moving parts there. All right, let's round into the finish line here. Speaking of LIV, a couple Masters exemptions announced. Joaquin Niemann on that list, as well as Nikolai Højgaard. They've both been given exemptions into the Masters. Højgaard finished T16 in his Masters debut. He's 60th in the OWGR, so kind of right on the edge. Just a fun one. First time twins will compete in the Masters. Him and his brother Rasmus will both be in the field. Neiman got one for winning twice on LIV last year. Still, one of the top young players in the world. However, still looking for his first top 10 in a major, which is just kind of quickly becoming one of my favorite stats in golf. I think this will be his 23rd start at a major. He has exactly 0 top 10s.
Question for you guys. Will Neiman find a way to make a bitchy comment about this?
Yeah, I mean,
Got
probably.
minus
Yeah.
5,000 on that in some way.
Kind of
Yeah.
seems like his MO. However, the Masters is trying to be above all this shit and trying to be a reflection of, the global game and all of that stuff. So I, applaud them as I usually do when they do these types of things. But moving on, number 8, just kind of a non-update about Riviera. According to the LA Times, PGA Tour informed its membership this week that it has not made a decision on the status of the Genesis Invitational, which is supposed to be about a month from now, February 13th through the 16th. Riviera, that whole area was obviously evacuated due to the Palisades fire, but the golf course was not damaged. Clubhouse was not damaged, none of that. So they basically have the option to postpone, move to a different location, which I don't know how you stand up an entire golf tournament kind of with 1 month's notice. Maybe you can, or proceed as planned. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add here. This is just kind of the last thing I'm sure anybody's really thinking about in an immensely shitty situation going on in LA and the Pacific Palisades specifically. But it is, kind of one of the hallmarks of the PGA Tour. So they'll have a decision to make here shortly.
I saw this floated, and I don't know who to credit or how credible it was, but the idea or the thought even that Waste Management in Phoenix could host back-to-back weeks, kind of similar to how Memorial did back in 2020. So it would be the Waste Management the week before and then the signature event the following week. And the field would be a little bit different from that. I'm not sure how much you could really tinker with the golf course to make it different. I would not want to flip the 9s for that because of how good that golf course finishes, but that seems to be a decent stopgap option. People will turn out for it, and that'd be really cool to have another signature event in Phoenix. So
that's a good idea. God, I totally forgot that happened. That was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that plan's as good as any. I feel like it's such a weird. I mean, obviously, like I'm sure all the right people are asking all the right questions, but it's trying to find that balance of, are you helping by having the tournament? Are you hurting by having the tournament? Does it put any stress on that area doing this? Does it make things better for the people who are there? Like, what a tough one to.
I think
I don't think you can fill up the hotels like that. That's
Right.
the
Yeah,
number
dude,
one
you
thing.
can't have
I
you
know.
can't have the traffic.
No way.
You can't have this
No way.
tournament.
I know. It's again, the people on the ground will certainly know a lot more than.
Or you'd have it and you don't have fans. You cannot bring it's already like tough to get in and out of that place.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine what the roads leading in and out of River look like right now. It just doesn't seem like that's at all possible.
The optics alone of that would just be. Yeah, I don't see any way that they would have. That's not a news item. That is an opinion of I would be absolutely stunned if they had this at Riviera in a couple weeks.
Yeah. In lighter news, final one here, number 9. The boys played some golf this weekend or this week. What was that? Friday? Out at
Friday.
Timuquana Country Club. Just I guess your reaction. I mean, the one agenda item I put on here is just, do I stink beyond repair, which we can get to. But Neil played nice, solid.
I would say
Hit
nice.
some
I mean,
shots.
so I shot 80. I shot 81.
Golf course was so hard.
I was saying it was a bit of a girl math round, like the check. Yeah, it looked good. It just didn't. This checkbook didn't add up though. Why are we spending so much money? It just didn't putt well. Just rusty, really. But Deej, I thought the last 2 drives you hit, something to build on there.
Of course, there's something in there for sure, and I will just hit this one right out front here. I shot 94. I think it's the highest score I've posted in I don't know how long. And it was just one of those kind of a gas leak round, just no chance. Can't get up off the floor. I was playing golf swing. I feel like I've been playing golf swing for about a year. This is probably a much longer conversation elsewhere, but I don't know how to get out of the, don't think about elephants type of golf, right? Where it's just, that's how I feel standing over the ball. It's just I feel like there are I've gotten so let me throw this one at you. This is a place where, and I'm this is not an excuse. I'm not making excuses. A place where the Trap Draw Goals podcast can have some, perverse incentives is when you lay something on there and you have a checkbox of like, I want to hit all these goals. One of my goals was take a lesson. So I procrastinated on that goal. Again, my fault. So I got to like October and I was like, all right, well, like I put this on my goals list. Like I got to take a lesson. Took a great lesson with my guy Joe here in Milwaukee. He was like, man, if you want to get better, like here are the things you need to do. I'm like, all right, great, perfect. And then it starts snowing. I have this kid. I'm not going to the simulator. I'm like, what? So now I'd like have the answers to the test seemingly, but I don't have any time to actually, show my work. So I'm out there in the middle of the golf course. I'm like, well, I know like what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how to turn that part of my brain off. And it's just it's debilitating for
And you
my
don't want to
golf game.
keep doing it the old way.
Right. I'm
Because
like,
you're like, well, I need to change it. So we
yeah,
might as well start
Well,
now.
yes.
and that golf course can put you in a blender so fast.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard, but like when you're on the wrong side of it, everything just gets really freaking hard really quickly.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the valley of ashes right now a little bit, where I know that I again I'm pushing through on the right stuff, like you said on those last couple holes. Like when you start to groove it and the body kind of gets to a place where you start to get a little muscle memory back. Like swings there, there's new speed, there's a lot of good stuff happening. It's just like God, getting there and ripping off the scar tissue is
It was,
tough, and it's tough when you can only it's the first round I've played in however long. Like it's a tough spot right now.
it was sick though. These and I both started the year off with doubles on one.
Yeah.
After you could take two off the first tee at Timaquana and we still made double on one. So I was like, oh, that's really a great way to start the year
Yeah.
off. But I would say on the bright side, guys, I hit the best driver off the deck of my life.
Oh my God.
On
12.
What hole was that? 12. I mean, unbelievable. Just like Ron DeSantis is on the tee next door. I'm just like, check this shit out, Captain Ron. Just absolute missile. This fucking security didn't know what to do with me.
Security came running over.
They were like, yo, you can't bring that kind of firepower out here, brother. And then I got super shafua from behind the green and
Par 5 scoring
flopped
off
one
to a
up.
hot start.
I was,
That's right.
yes, under par. 2 birdies on par 5, so I was fired up about that.
Anyways,
Solid big takeaways. Obviously some rust with the kiddos.
I
but
mean, it was the
had a little bit of a stranger round. Maybe
Classic,
that first one
yeah.
out. I think that was
Had this-
last people
had
heard.
the stranger round right before the new year, shot a 69. So then you start feeling yourself like you're 12 days off in between that. But it was like, if I take 12 days off in the middle of like a heater in the summer, I'll be like, oh, well, I'm starting over from scratch. But like I've played so little golf that the 12 days off, I was like, I'll be totally fine. Like there's no way that feeling from December 31st won't last. I mean, there's no freaking way it won't. And it did not. And I feel like I'm back at square one.
Of course it did.
Do we need to?
Is Solly back?
I'm
Is Solly
I'm
back?
gone again.
The tweet just went out. I think Solly is. We can report Solly is not back. No longer.
Gotta learn how
but
to
I look forward to the next time he is.
Yeah. I just gotta fade.
God. What else? Anything else from that round stick out? I feel like you're in the right golf ball.
It was great having you guys down.
I'm in the
here.
left dash, so a lot of chatter about the new Pro V1, Pro V1X, but I'm really liking the left dash. So, no reason to switch. I need to get the putting mats out, dude. I'm just kind of a moron. I was telling Deej something to unpack is I don't like putting. I just get real stressed out about it. It's like you should make these putts. Whereas with golf shots, like when I hit a flop shot, I'm like I get to hit this shot. The rest of the golf is like, yeah, let's send it. And putting's like, fuck. So,
which I don't know if there's any better. I don't know. I don't know if there's any better illustration of just like why golf is so sick.
I know,
right? It's like, well, yeah, man, you can't just do the fun parts. Like,
you can't just see the fun part. I know. I need to change.
You gotta eat your vegetables too, man.
Yeah.
Some people really like the
want to do
vegetables. They
that.
don't like the other stuff. It's great. It's great.
No, I was just gonna say it was freaking great to actually get to. I haven't played golf with either of you guys in a long time.
For real.
Also, Timaquana is as far away from my house as I've been in the last 7 months. I think as well. So it was, it was just great having you guys down here and doing a couple in-person pods and get to play a little golf and meet your kiddos and hang with the wives. It was just like old times. It was great.
It was here. Oh, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this Sunday. A couple little housekeeping things. Go check out the YouTube channel, Tron. We had a game improvement Serve Pro video with Tron trying to get the most out of your best rounds of golf. Turned into a really fun one with our guy, Dr. Nico Darris. We've got an episode this week that's coming out on Tuesday. I'll just get out ahead of it. I don't know if this one's for everyone. We mentioned this on the TGL pod, and there were a lot of comments from people being like, yo, that sounds sweet. And the premise is Tron and I sat down with Keith Mitchell. We talked for way too long about food on the PGA Tour. Where do you eat when you travel? What restaurants do you need to seek out? What chefs do you need to It's just I think it's going to be like a historical document for PGA Tour rookies. I think they should play this podcast at PGA Tour orientation going forward, because he lights up, like, I won't spoil it, but he lights up one golf tournament in particular for their on-site food. And then for business travelers, if you're in Phoenix, if you're in Columbus, if you're in Dallas, if you're in Hilton Head, like there's gonna be a lot of people with a lot of opinions after this one. So we'll see how it goes. Neil, what do we do? What do we got in the trap draw this week?
Trap draw chop session. Randy's still on his honeymoon. Seems like he's having a great time. Obviously, haven't heard from him, which is great. So the Pie Man and I sat in for the big man. We did straight went down the monitoring list. I mean, that was kind of a tour de force, Deej. Probably 2 hours of just bullshit with TC in his garage.
Yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to that one getting out. The pro shop, we've got a couple bespoke specialty items.
We do. We have the iBod t-shirts, the International Brotherhood of Dishwashers. If you are a Trap Draw listener, you will know what this means. But it's a union shop, the local 908. If you wash dishes, you'll appreciate this. We started my brother-in-laws and I started a union. So these shirts were really just for my brother-in-laws, but they're in the pro shop if you want one. We also have retro NLU team jackets, just outrageous satin bomber jackets that I think are sick.
I gotta
Go to
say,
the store right now.
We've talked about this before. We've got a season of Strapped in the can right now that I'm working on editing, and Neil's wearing one of these jackets the first night we're there in this undisclosed location, and I'm looking through the camera at him wearing this jacket. I was like, what a fucking idiot. Like, this is incredible. And then as I'm going through the footage now, like a month or two later, I'm like, God, you know what? I stand corrected, man. Like, this thing looks
slap.
pretbe sweet, actually.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And my goal is I want to make one of these a year, so it might be just a specialty, bespoke stuff. Okay. That's what we're kicking the year off with right now. I also want to shout out the NLU Roost, our events, but our like kind of local clubs around the country. Some schedules coming out, some good stuff. And we've got a new Roost, guys, the Lake Effect up in Western New York.
Whoa. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So if you're up in Western New York
Great
and you're
name.
looking for kind of a group of golfers in your area, you can go to events.nolayingup.com. If you just want to go find a Roost, go to nolayingup.com/find-my-roost, and it'll kind of guide you towards but if you want to learn more about it, go to that events site I said first. But Roost are starting to plan out their calendars for the season. Some good stuff from guys up north, Second City up in Chicago, Fresh Coast Flock. It's exciting stuff.
And then lastly, just, another reminder, we're going to be out at Pebble Beach. If anyone's going to be at that golf tournament, I'm sure you'll see us rolling around there. Please come and say hello. And for those that are not going to be at Pebble Beach, we're going to be doing a bunch of live shows from on site. Hopefully have some players rolling through, have some celebrities rolling through. We'll have all kinds of dumb games and segments, and maybe the Beluga's Big Board makes another appearance. I hope he's working on that. Getting in that Aon Swing 5, seeing, making sure he knows where those guys could slot in. Hopefully they don't blow up, JJ
the new country music sensation Luke Clanton.
JJ Spawn's gonna come in and blow up the Beluga's Big Board through the Aon Swing 5. But yeah, man, I think that's about it. Solly, you got anything else?
That is it.
All right.
Great being with you guys.
Likewise. Great being with you, and let's go have a great week, guys. Excited for the Amex.
Crack on.
Cheers.
Bang-a-lang!